going to be really exciting. We don't need our laptops open. We are going to be doing some logic questions in our book. And this is the essence of logic. And we've already done square of opposition. I think that was probably the hardest thing that we'll do in logic. I think this is going to be a bit easier than square of opposition, but it still will be a bit challenging. And so you will need to concentrate. But it is a nice algorithm. Okay, what we're going to see, there's 6 rules. We just need to follow the rules. And it's just sort of check the rules off as we're going. Does it satisfy all the rules? Then either it's valid or it's not valid. So we're going to use that word, syllogism, and that's the most basic form of an argument. Okay, it's going to have 2 premises and a conclusion. Okay, so you've seen some of the arguments that we've been presenting in the previous PowerPoints. They've had, we're trying to make them as simple as possible, 2 premises and a conclusion. So here's an example. All dogs are mammals. All mammals have live young, and therefore all dogs have live young. So we could have a good indication that this is a valid syllogism, and that's what we're trying to infer. We're saying it's valid if the premises flow to the conclusion. Does the conclusion flow from the premises? So one way we can see if it's valid is to draw some Venn diagrams. Okay, that's the easiest way. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have like a circle of dogs. Okay, this has got all dogs in it, all kinds of them, German Shepherds and Shih Tzus. And all of those dogs fall into the circle of things that are mammals, okay? And within that there's hippos and kangaroos and all other mammals, okay? And then mammals, all mammals are things that have live young, okay? So that they give birth to live young, okay? That is the definition of a mammal, but all mammals fall into that circle. And then the conclusion says, therefore, all dogs have live young. All dogs are that which belong to the circle of things that have live young. So this is a valid argument. Okay, all we're doing is saying, does it flow? Let's have a look at this next one. Here we've got all people have legs. Bob is not a person. Therefore, Bob does not have legs. So let's draw this one up and see if we can determine if it's valid or not. So we've got Bob, and he's got legs. Okay? Sorry. This is all people. All people have legs. Could you shut the door, please, Riley? Well, just shut the door when you're done, thank you.
Shut the door.
Shut the door.
Okay, so we have all people have legs, and there's this group of things that have legs, and within that group are zebras and crocodiles, and all the things that have legs. Snakes aren't part of that group, because snakes don't have legs, okay, but we've got people. All people have legs. But Bob is not a person, so Bob does not belong to this group. Okay, we're not told what Bob is. He could be a crocodile, he could be a snake. So we're not sure where Bob is. We're not sure if he's in the group of things that have legs, or if he's in the group of things that don't have legs. All we're told is that he's not a person. He doesn't belong to this group of people. There's paper towels there, mate. Otherwise, do you want to run down and see Tanya? That'll be right. Yep. Okay, so we've got all people have legs. Bob is not a person, okay? But like I've said, he could be a crocodile. He could be a zebra, which means he could have legs. Or he could be a snake, which means he might not have legs. So you're right, Carson. So what that means is we cannot affirm that this is a valid statement because the conclusion says Bob does not have legs. We don't know if that's true. We don't have enough evidence to affirm that or deny that. Okay, so what we're going to do, just to begin with, just to get the mind ticking over, is we're going to look at some syllogisms. And we've got to try and confirm whether they're valid or invalid. And we're going to do that by drawing Venn diagrams. So this is on page 30 in our booklets. We're going to open that up, and I just want you to go through, work as a team, put a V for valid or an I for invalid. If you need to, draw a Venn diagram to help you out with them. We just wanted to get you thinking about it, okay? That's just to get you thinking about it. I think some of you found it pretty easy, some of you found it a little bit challenging. That's fine, okay? So we've said that's going to give us an indication of whether it's valid or not, but there are these rules that we can follow, and that's going to tell us if it's valid, and if it's not, why it's not valid. We can provide a justification for why it is not valid. Okay, so just here's some language for you that we're going to be using. The first one is middle term, minor term, and major term. They're the three words we're going to use. The middle term is the term that is not used in the conclusion. So let's have a look up here at this basic syllogism that we started with. All dogs are mammals. All mammals are that which have live young. All dogs are that which have live young. So we're going, which term is not used in the conclusion?
Mammals.
Mammals, okay? Mammals is used in the first premise and the second premise, but it does not appear in the conclusion. So this is our middle term. In this circumstance, mammals is our middle term. The minor term is going to be the subject of the conclusion. So that means it's the term that appears first in the conclusion. So our minor term is dogs, and then our major term is that which have live young. Also want to remind you of the rules of distribution. Okay, so that's just identifying is it an A, I, or O statement, and then putting the D's and the U's in the respective positions, because that's going to come in handy here. So here are our 6 rules for a syllogism. And you've got them printed on page 30, and we're going to work through the first example together. So turn over, and you'll see them written there. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to start with the first few, okay? Because this is a beauty of a syllogism, okay? It's going to have 3 propositions. So that means, Joel, 2 premises, 1 conclusion. 3 propositions. What's a proposition? It's a statement that declares something, okay? Because it has 3 propositions, that means it needs to have 3 terms. Okay? It can only have 3 terms. So look back at our example here. We have dogs, we have mammals, and we have that which have live young. We have 3 terms. Each term is used twice. Okay, so let's get into an example, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use the rules to see if this is a valid argument. Okay, so we've got, I'm a man, Socrates is a man, therefore I am Socrates. So what we have to do first, so where it says example 1, you guys are going to write this in as we're doing it together. We need to put this in strict logical form. So that means we do what we've done with categorical propositions. All I is that which is a man. Okay, that's our first proposition. That's premise 1. Okay, we've put it in strict logical form, haven't we? We've gone, it's an A statement, it's referring to all of I. Our second premise, Socrates is a man. Okay, so there we're going to write all, it's referring to all of Socrates, is that which is a man. Okay, and then our conclusion, therefore I am Socrates, all I is Socrates. Okay, we've written it up. We need to put the D's and U's for distribution or for distributed or undistributed. They're all A propositions, so they're all DU, DU, DU. Okay? Now it's really clear, like this is the simplest way that you can construct an argument. Okay? We can see very clearly what the subject is, what the predicate is, whether it's distributed. So let's go through the rules. A syllogism must have 3 and only 3 terms. Okay? So we've got that which is a man. Okay, that's our first term. We've got Socrates, that's our second term, and we've got I, which is our third term. We have 3 terms. Each term is used twice. Okay, so it satisfies the first rule. Move on to the second one. Must have 3 and only 3 propositions. 1, 2, 3. We've satisfied the second rule. Okay, so you can see how this is an algorithm here. We're just going to go through and see if we satisfy all the rules. Third rule, the middle term must be distributed at least once. Okay, the middle term. The middle term, I've written that up here, is the term that is not in the conclusion. In our circumstance, Which is the middle term? It's not in the conclusion. It's going to be this one, that which is a man. Okay? So that's our middle term. We've identified it. Is it distributed? No, it's not distributed here, and it's not distributed here. Okay? And the middle term must have a D on it in one of the premises. It doesn't, which means this is an invalid argument. And it's invalid for, it gives us the reason there, the fallacy of the undistributed middle. Invalid, why? Fallacy of undistributed middle. Okay, so we're working our way through, and we stopped at the third rule because the middle term, okay, this one, it's not in the conclusion, it's in both premises. The middle term is not distributed. It must be distributed at least once for it to be a valid syllogism.
Why?
That's the rules of a valid syllogism. It's like asking 2 + 2 is 4. Let's have a look at our next example. I would like you to have a go at putting this in strict logical form. So have a go and then look up here if you get stuck. Give me a minute or so.
Shouldn't it be that which is a magazine?
Yeah.
If we want to put it here as well, but just as long as it's consistent.
Okay.
It's not wrong to put that which is. Okay, very good. So we've written it up. We've got some books are worth reading, that which is worth reading. No magazine is worth reading. Therefore, no book is a magazine. Okay, we're going to make our way through this. We've written it up. We need to put where it's distributed and undistributed. So our first proposition is of this form. Sum S is P. Okay, it's an I proposition. So both terms are undistributed. Okay, and our next two propositions are both an E proposition. So they're both distributed. D and D, D and D. Okay, let's check the rules. We've got three terms, okay? That which is worth reading, magazine, books, tick. Each term is used twice, tick. We've got three propositions, tick. So we've completed the first two rules. It satisfies the most basic sense of a syllogism. The middle term, okay? The middle term is the term that is not used in the conclusion. So we're looking, the term that is not used in the conclusion is this one again, that which is worth reading, okay? It's not used in the conclusion, so that's how I've identified that it's our middle term. The middle term must be distributed at least once. Look, it's distributed. It's distributed at least once. Excellent. Okay, so we've satisfied that third rule. The middle term is distributed at least once. Let's move on to the fourth rule. No term that is undistributed in the middle can be distributed in the conclusion. So the middle is what we call the first two premises. Okay, that's the middle of the argument, and then we have the conclusion. So if there is a term up here, that is distributed in the middle and then undistributed in the conclusion, that's where we have an error. So let's have a look. We have books undistributed in the middle, but distributed in the conclusion. Okay, so that's our error. It can't be undistributed in the middle and then distributed in the conclusion. It's violated this error. It's violated this rule. But this one, the magazine is okay because it is distributed in the middle and distributed in the conclusion. So that term's fine, but it's this one, undistributed and then distributed. Okay? Then let's read it a little bit more carefully. If it's if not, it's called an illicit major if it's the major premise or the major term, and an illicit minor if it's the minor premise or the minor term. Okay, so let's clarify that. Which one is it? The minor term is the subject of the conclusion. Okay, the subject of the conclusion, no S is P. This is the subject of the conclusion. This is where the error occurs. So it's what we call it's invalid because it's an illicit minor. Invalid because of illicit minor.
It says that if it's undistributed in the middle, it can't be distributed in the conclusion, but if it's distributed in the middle, can it be undistributed in the conclusion?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, so we have one more example here, and this one's going to satisfy all the rules so that we can get through.
We don't have a first one.
So we have, you guys don't have a place for that. I'll do this one up here. We have no cats have pets. All right, so that's our first premise. I'm going to just write it up here. Premise 1, strict logical form. No cats have needs to be are that which have pets. Close the square bracket. Okay, it's an E proposition, so we're distributed and we're distributed. Okay, in the next premise, Simon is a cat. So we're going to go all Simon is or are that which is cat. Cats. Okay, now we need to be consistent with the term. Here we've used cat, so all Simon is a cat. And so for an A proposition, we have distributed and undistributed. And then our conclusion, therefore Simon does not have pets. No Simon is that which have pets. Okay, and this is an E as well, so they're both distributed. Okay, let's check the rules. We've got 3 terms, so cats, Simon, and that which have pets. 3 terms, 3 propositions. Let's move on to the third rule. The middle term must be distributed at least once. What is the middle term? It's not used in the conclusion, it's used in both premises, cats. Okay, it is distributed here, it's satisfied the third rule. Check. Okay, the fourth rule. No term that is undistributed in the middle can be distributed in the conclusion. So let's see. That which have pets is in the middle, it's distributed, and then it's distributed in the conclusion. So that's fine. Simon is distributed in the middle and distributed in the conclusion, so that's fine as well. We've satisfied the fourth rule. Fifth rule, can't have 2 negative premises. Okay, 2 negative premises would be if the first 2 of the form E. So this is an E, this is an A. So this one's a negative premise, this is a affirmative, it's positive. So that's fine. And then if one premise is negative, the conclusion must be negative. Well, let's look at that. We have a negative premise and a negative conclusion. So we've satisfied all 6 rules of a syllogism. This is valid, okay? It satisfies all of them. And this is one that you could draw a Venn diagram for quite easily. We've got pets, or things that have pets, that which have pets, and cats aren't a part of that. Okay, we've got no cats are that which have pets. They're completely outside of that group. And within the group of things that have pets, cats, or within the group of things that's cats, is Simon. Simon is a cat. So therefore, of course it's true, Simon doesn't have pets. Okay, so these are the rules. And it's just an algorithm that we're going to follow. We're going to keep checking back to them. And there's a number of questions that I want you to go through, apply the rules at. If they're valid, give them a tick. If they're invalid, you need to tell me why. There's only 3 reasons it can be invalid, okay? So that is undistributed middle, fallacy of the undistributed middle, illicit major, illicit minor, okay? Or it might be one of the last 2 as well, I suppose, if it has 2 negative premises, or a negative premise and the conclusion is not negative. Okay, so let's give them a go. Let's see how we go, what we reckon. Work together. It's lots of fun.